right, it's that time. Fatihletic, the podcast, live and in color on a Wednesday night at 8 p.m. or somewhere near that. We hope you can hear us. I have been dealing with a few technical issues the last couple of minutes, so I'm not quite sure that you are hearing us. But if you are, let us know it.
Couple of minutes. You've been dealing with it for like an hour.
Well,
Dan's been working miracles over here.
Well,
Hopefully it's going
miracles. It means it needs to work. It looks like we are live, but I could not hear audio on my side, so I'm hoping it's just me. For some reason, I can't see comments, but maybe we'll get our counterpart in. Anyway, I'm Coach, and I'm with.
Well, today it's just the gunslinger in studio.
Well, that's not what we're supposed to do today. Right, but you're missing the whole thing. I'm Coach. I'm with.
Well, you want me to wait for Casey?
Okay, just be quiet for a second, and I'll get somebody on here who knows how to. We'll just go this route. Okay. We'll just have to give us a minute because.
Was Casey supposed to be on?
Well, no, he's not on.
Well, was I supposed to just say the gun?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Can you? I have. Now you can't. I'm having some issues right now. I've got Kyle's mic muted for or Casey or Gunslinger's mic muted for a second. Can you tell if you're on your end? You can even hear us.
I can hear you.
Yeah, you can hear me, but you don't. You don't have the social media where you can hear us now, correct?
No, I don't.
So I can't hear us on my end, so I don't know.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I don't know if where you can hear, and then I can't because of all this goofy stuff now where Facebook's changed everything. I can't see any of the comments. Oh wait, maybe they're there. Oh, there they are. Okay, so I got D Frank on. D Frank, can you hear us? Just let me know. In and out. Yep, that's what I thought. Okay, so give me a second here, if I can see why. Testing 1 2 test 1 2. Something is not. Tell me in and out. Is it still doing that, D Frank? Dang it. Sorry guys. I'm having a little bit of issue. I get thumping stuff going on here. 1 2 test 1 2 test 1 2 test 1 2 test 1 2. Yes. Okay. I think maybe we're except and another thing too, Casey, is when I move this over to our Fatihletic Studios Sports Palace big screen, it makes it look like 72,000 times bigger. So
what in the world? What do you got going on there?
I have no idea, but I'm spitting in and out, and I can't get the music to play properly, and it's like I'm out of sorts right now. I'm not doing well. So anyway, what's the standard protocol when we do the intro? Whoever's not here, we just skip it, right? Or we skip whoever's not. In other words, if I say I'm Coach, the next one here says their name, correct?
Usually I say I'm with KC still on with as best as we can.
The guy sitting across the table from now, he can't figure out that if you're not here, he needs to be the one saying Gunslinger.
Oh my gosh, we're a mess.
And for some reason, he's taking his happy pill, and he can't quit laughing, so I cut his mic off.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's not been a good start.
No.
So, and if you didn't hear him say that, it's because I have his mic turned off. I'm going to try. All right, you can go ahead and talk now.
I'm back on?
You're back on.
Yes.
So, anyway, and I'm cutting in and out, which means, okay, let's try this again. All right. Hey guys, we missed last week. We all of us had life get in the way somewhat, I guess you could say.
For sure we did.
And that kind of caused a little bit of an issue for me, as particularly. And so I just decided I just got too much going on last week. I didn't want the stress. And then we'll be out next week because we're taking that day before Thanksgiving Day off, as we generally do every year.
Yes.
At least Casey and I have. And then we'll be back the week after because that's championship week. So
that it is. It's going to be interesting this year, too. There's a lot of things on the line. And who knows if we get we might get another bedlam out of it.
We might.
Yep.
I'm kind of hoping we don't, but we might. It's possible.
I sure don't hope it happens.
I don't want it to. I mean, who wants to?
It
wants to see
doesn't
them play back-to-back
help
weeks?
anybody.
No, it doesn't. It isn't going to help OU. It's not going to help OSU. The best case scenario is to play. Whoever wins that game plays Baylor. That's really the only.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because both of them.
The only thing that I could say I might like about that scenario would be if OU beat us being OSU in the regular season, and then they lost to us in in the championship game, and they had to say that they're not the champions of the league. That would be fantastic.
Well, I truly believe that whatever happens, if they do play back to back, that neither one is they're gonna split it.
I think so too.
Which absolutely taints a bedlam win for OSU, in my opinion, unless it's the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah.
That's the only way that it doesn't taint it as much. If they win Friday or whenever it is next week, and then they lose,
it's definitely going to taint it.
In the Big 12 championship game, I mean, you only celebrated for 1 week.
Yeah.
That Bedlam win for the first time in 6 years.
7.
7 years, yeah.
2014.
Man.
I mean, wouldn't that be the most OSU thing?
It would be.
Too?
Yeah. And most of you may or not remember, this weekend will be 10 years since the debacle in Iowa State, when they were the number 2 team in the country and lost that game a day after the plane crash that killed the OSU basketball coach and
that was
the girls basketball coach and boosters and assistant coach. So
it's just the most tragic thing.
10 years ago.
How are you supposed to play a game like that the next
They should have canceled it. And then on top of that, it just all that goofy stuff that happened during the game. And then the pollsters, ganged up on them to make sure they didn't play in the championship game and voted them like 10th and 11th. So
well, it's stupid, dude.
Yeah.
Especially, the most stupid thing out of that is we got a dumb Bama versus LSU game that we had already seen that year.
Yeah.
That's probably the most infuriating.
It wasn't like 7-3 or something.
The first one
9-3 or something.
The first one was
stupid.
Yeah. The second one had a few more points than that, but not much.
Yeah, but it wasn't a great game, at all.
Yeah. No.
And everybody was upset. And I wasn't even from Oklahoma at that point, but I just remember being so disappointed that we're going to see another. I don't want to see that game again. Why do we have to have rematches at that point? It doesn't make any sense to me. But
yeah,
here we are.
And OSU has this knack for history repeating itself. I gotta hope that everything about this team is different than it has been in the past. So hopefully the history does not repeat itself. In other words, the wheels fall off and everything. And if you're an OSU fan, you've learned to experience the euphoria of being really good, but then find out you're really not, or something happens.
Expectations are always so low that when they exceed it, it's euphoria. So we expect them to blow it every year, and if they don't one year and go to Fiesta Bowl and win it,
and then you got. And I've always and look, I didn't grow up as an Oklahoma State person. I was a Texas Longhorn. I kind of grew into OSU. My wife went to OSU. My sister went to OSU. Both graduated from OSU. But you could see through the years all this goofy stuff that happens to them. And I can go back, as far as I can remember, 1988, when Barry Sanders, Mike Gundy, and Hartley Dykes are, the triplets of Oklahoma State and the best offense in the country. OU comes to town, and all this goofy stuff happens to OSU in that game. I mean, most people remember Brent Parker dropping that pass in the end zone when there wasn't anybody within 12 yards of him on a 4th and 28, when the play before the offensive lineman gets dragged out of bounds by the defender, the OU defender, literally grabs him by the shoulder pads and pulls him out of bounds, and the OSU gets a flag for holding.
Jeez.
I mean, you can see it on plain as day. He's backing up. He's grabbed a hold of the Oklahoma State lineman, and he's got a hold of him, and he's backing up, and he can't get away from him, and the referee drops the flag, calls the penalty on OSU. And on the next play, Brent Parker drops the pass in the end zone. That's 88.
Well, and then, I mean, you talked the past couple of years where Gundy just loses his ever-loving mind when he plays in that game.
In the last 10 years, OSU has probably, out of those 10 games, at least half of them, if not more, they've had the better team.
And they've been winnable ball games, but then
they've lost.
He just plays conservative games where it's like, dude, you haven't played this way all season.
Yep.
And then,
oh my gosh, they would just go into they'd be up by 3, and they'd go into prevent defense and just allow them to march down the field and score 7, and then they'd panic and
I can think of Baker Mayfield's Heisman Trophy year or whatever. It was his Heisman Trophy year, and Mason Rudolph is his senior year, and Baker throws an interception with about 2 minutes left in the game. In the red zone, OSU returns it to about the 50, and OSU can't figure out how to get a first down. When they've been moving the ball the whole game, they scored like 50 points.
I know.
They couldn't even get 10 yards.
Make sense. Like, he plays scared, and I don't understand why.
I don't either.
It's like it's just the fact that they have that logo on the side of their helmet, and they lose all control of their bodies.
And then you take into consideration in 2009 where Des Bryant is, and they're one of the better teams in their top 5 team in the country that year. He has a dinner with Deion Sanders. Isn't even a violation, and they ban him for the rest of the season.
Yep.
Sure.
And of course they just they're not near as good. And then you could probably throw in there the basketball situation. I mean, it's the most bizarre thing with them getting a year suspension on a $300 coach that's that paid out a player to bribe a player that the coach even isn't there anymore.
Not even there.
Yeah, and none of the players are there, and the head coach that was responsible for that's scot-free coaching at Illinois right now.
Yeah.
And then they that's Oklahoma State.
No.
That's the key. You make the violation, and then you just before the penalty hits, you move.
Yeah.
And that way you don't have to deal with
it. And they actually uncovered this on their own and reported it to the NCAA. And they self-imposed penalties on themselves, and at the time the NCAA said, "Yeah, that's fine." Then they turn around and decide, "Oh, yeah, you know what? We're going to make an example out of you on this."
Well, and then Boynton does a great job of, and pretty much the national basketball media agreed with Boynton. Is like, don't agree with the NCAA. Don't be cooperative.
Yeah, just keep your mouth shut.
If that's the way they're going to treat you, just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, that they had made a big point about if you kind of take care of it in house, or so NCAA made it seem, that you would receive a lesser or no penalty, kind of like, well, you dealt with
yourself.
It. Yeah, and so they were encouraging it, and there were a few teams that had that happen to them. Maybe not as bad as OSU, but there are a few teams that self-reported something and said we're doing this because of it, and then they got slammed by the NCAA anyway.
So we got
Kansas. Yeah, is that, by the way?
Yeah, true. Not to cut you off there, but I'm going to make sure that we recognize some of our super fans here. So we've got Adam Kosh, By the way, Adam, welcome to the show again. One of the friends of the show. He's our official statistician, although he hasn't been giving us a lot of stats lately. But I might ban him from the show because he says OSU beats OU, but OSU loses to Baylor in the Big 12 championship game. Boo.
That spoken like a true Baylor grad.
And then what year are you talking about, Adam? Who won the Heisman that year? Are you talking about 2011? It must have been, since he's asking this, it must have been RG3.
RG3. Yeah,
by the way, I blame Baylor for costing OSU a shot at the national championship that year, because if OU beats Baylor, then OSU probably gets the credit for beating them the following week. But because OU lost their credibility by losing to Baylor, it hurt OSU's chances.
Yep.
Which I could argue that OU blew that game intentionally so OSU wouldn't get in. So, anyway. And then, of course, we've got D. Frank says, can Oklahoma State get in? I'm going to maintain all along, D. Frank, that the NCAA, I don't care how good and how much they blow people out the next 2 weeks, will never let it happen.
Nope.
No way.
Unless all these other teams beat themselves up. That's the only way it happens. And I'm telling you right now, Notre Dame will get the nod over everybody else. So just get ready for it.
It still won't happen. Well, there's a 4-team playoff. Won't happen.
Yeah, I don't see it.
At 8?
They get in at 8. They would get in at 8 if they stay if they win out. But
leave it to the NCAA though.
Well, that's true. But Michigan State, Ohio State, Michigan, they're all one of those teams are not going to get in. I think I might be wrong. So one or two of them are not going to get in. You're only going to have one.
Well, okay. So let me ask this question: OSU runs the table.
Yeah.
Where do you think they fall? Do you think they're better than Cincinnati?
Yes.
And unoffended. I agree.
Yes.
I think
Cincinnati has no shot either, unless.
No, they've made that abundantly clear. That you don't have enough money.
But do you put Cincinnati in over Oklahoma State if it comes down to those two?
I don't.
Yeah, but does the committee?
I think the committee at that point would put OSU over.
I don't know.
Just because the market, I think the market's bigger.
Do you think there's any
Ohio? You got Ohio State, all those guys. Any
merit that the NCAA slights Oklahoma State because of this basketball thing? They're mad at them at the university.
Oh my gosh, it would be the absolute worst. But you're absolutely right.
I think
it could happen, and they could be number 5 and put Cincinnati in to make an example of OSU.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I'm dead serious.
I do too.
Honestly.
Honest
to God, happen.
Boy, the show the next week would be fun.
Which goes and proves my point that Oklahoma State doesn't ever get the benefit of the doubt. And then, of course, we also have our longtime super fan, Larry Carroll, and he's getting to gear up for Radical Online Radio here in just a bit with the Midnight Metal Monastery. Coming up in a bit. We appreciate you 3 joining us tonight, and amongst others, they're listening that choose to keep themselves anonymous. I know you're there, I can see you, but I just don't know who you are. But anyway, a little bit about our show tonight. First of all, we're going to catch up on our predictions, our games of the week, which we missed last week. I do have the results here. Some things have shifted a bit, gentlemen. And last week I gave out 11 games. I gave everybody a mulligan. So you to keep it at 10 games, I eliminated one of your losses. So if you had yourself at 7-3, you're at 8-2. If you're at 3-8, you're at now 3-7. So
yikes!
Was
that me?
I think you actually did well. I'll look at the results here in a minute.
I think I was 4-6.
I think you were 4-6.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's been a shift though, and there may be a new leader this week.
Oh, I
bet
there is.
I know it.
There's perhaps a new leader, but in the second half of the hour, we're going to have a friend of the show and our Kansas City quote unquote beat writer, Mr. Jeff Foltz, on the phone. He's going to do predictions with us, but he's also going to break down the Dallas Cowboy Kansas City Chief game this Sunday at 3:25, which I know is particularly interested to you, KC, and myself.
It's rivalry week. It's rivalry week for us. I think we have a. Don't we have like a burger bet on this yet? Like,
what were we going to do on
something?
this? Did we decide?
Do we need to? We might need to disclose a stake bet. Like, this seems like a big
wow,
deal.
I like that.
What's the odds on this game? You looked it up yet?
I'm not, but I'm guessing the Cowboys are favored. Would be my guess.
I would guess it's the other way around.
However, the Chiefs look like they were on the verge of back.
Yeah, finally.
Yes.
Finally.
I'm not saying that they're back yet.
I have a theory on why.
Yep. But I think that the NFL scripted, but
you think
that could be why.
You think?
So it's funny is like
wow.
my dad has joked for the past few weeks. He's like, I'm convinced that it's the NFL scripted anymore, the way that these past few weeks have gone.
Huh. So maybe I'm not crazy.
And my dad's like the most level-headed guy.
Did you tell him my Dallas
so
Cowboy theory?
No, but we can have a long talk about that for sure.
I think it's
over Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, you need to tell him my thought process behind that. I think it has merit.
So the Chiefs are favored by 2.5 points.
And that's only because they're at home.
They're at home. Yeah, that's a toss-up basically.
Yeah, because the Chiefs, while they are number one in the offense and number one in passing in the NFL, they are number 30 in defense. 3-0.
But their
the Jets and the Miami Dolphins
are
the only two that are worse.
Can I ask a question about the NFL? Are we allowed to do that?
Sure.
What's going on with the Rams?
Woof.
Well, you could ask the same question about, dang it, what is going on here? You could ask the same question about the Dallas Cowboys because they rolled a donut the week before last against the Broncos. You could ask that question about the Buffalo Bills. You could ask that question about the Kansas City Chiefs. You can ask that question about the Baltimore Ravens. I just think
it's been weird.
Something is really weird. I mean, you could say, you can always have an off week, but they're having worse than off weeks. These are weeks like nobody just shows up.
Nobody is like,
they're not competitive almost.
No, it's so weird because I thought the Rams were probably the most competitive team out of anybody, and then 2 weeks in a row they get absolutely boat raced by Tennessee, and then
49ers.
Yeah, and then 49. Like the only way that I can understand this is that they're trying to make that in the hunt graphic look really good for a while, and so that's what they're scripting right now. That's the only thing that makes sense in my mind. But I mean, if you notice, there's not a team that's not on that in the hunt graphic that you're seeing right now.
Right.
Everybody's in the hunt.
I know, it's almost like they
reaching out there and
keeping everybody interested.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I always think that when you're watching a football game and it looks like it's getting ready to be a runaway or a rout, and it's like the referees get the signal from Buffalo Wild Wings transmitter that, hey, we need to keep this game a little closer so we don't lose our audience.
Boy, that didn't happen with the Rams.
Well,
so let me.
No.
It's just one game, though.
But okay, so we pretty much all said a couple weeks ago that we thought all of us were the Rams were the best team.
Yeah.
That we saw, and like looking back on it, go back to their wins and see who they've won against.
You know who it is now, by the way.
Basically nobody. They've lost to almost like. If they have a winning record, they've lost to that team. So it's kind of crazy now just looking at the whole landscape. And even a couple weeks ago, we said Tampa Bay is probably up there with them, and now they're not any good.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? Do you know who is the best in the NFL right now? Take a guess. Take a guess.
Well, theoretically, you're
Patriots.
looking for me to say the Arizona Cardinals.
No. They lost.
The Tennessee Titans?
No. Green Bay
Who is the
Packers.
best?
I don't know if Packers
Green
are.
Bay Packers.
I don't know.
Yep.
I don't
They
think
had
are.
that aside. Okay, the first game of the year, which was a fluke. And
Yeah.
then the only other game they lost was the Aaron Rodgers game where he was out and Jordan Love came in and
They
proved
won.
that he's not the answer.
He won.
No.
Yeah, but
They
Jordan
won that
Love
game.
lost.
No, he didn't.
but
Oh, yeah, maybe they did. I thought
Yeah,
they
they
won that
lost
game.
that
Who'd they
game.
play that?
no,
game?
they didn't.
Oh, that's right. They lost to the Chiefs. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Okay, but
That's their only losses.
nothing about them excited me this weekend against the Seahawks. That
Well,
like
Rolled a
again,
0 on the
I
Seahawks.
don't. Okay, so to me, I think the Packers probably are the most complete team in the NFC, but nobody's scaring anybody right now.
I'll agree with that, but they're the best team in
I
the
don't agree.
NFL right now.
I don't
I'd say.
agree.
Well, who is it then?
I don't know. I don't know if any of them are.
Well, if somebody's got to be
Patriots,
the
probably.
best. No.
They're
come
playing the
on.
best of anybody right now. You couldn't deny that.
No, I think I
Ooh.
agree with. I think that I agree with Josh just in the sense that it's kind of the default. But I really do think, Dan, and you're going to hate this, I think the Cowboys are the best team in the league.
Don't say that.
Yeah, I do. I really do. I
Don't-
genuinely think
I was waiting for
You're
that
killing me.
argument to be made. I
You're
was
killing
waiting
me.
for
Yes.
it, and I was surprised it took this
I
long.
genuinely think.
I need to go back and edit
Listen.
that part out because can I have a
No,
cough button here somewhere?
sure. But you don't like what happened a couple weeks ago. Nobody did, but we
Doesn't surprise
realized
me.
that all these teams have clunkers
Yeah,
every once in a while.
yeah.
And so, like, we
You can't
did a
be
pass
flawless
on
in 17
Green Bay,
games. You can't.
But that said, I think that they've looked. They came back and they looked awesome this week. Incredible.
No, Cowboys look good. This is I was talking to one of my good buddies earlier today, friend of the show, Jeff Phelps, and I said to him, do you remember the last time you sat and watched the Dallas Cowboy game? They weren't in danger of losing or thought they were in danger of losing. He goes, I know it. I mean, I don't even remember the last time they won a game like that. I mean, they won by 40 points. I mean, it's been like 1990s or 92 since they won a game like that.
But they've done
crazy.
it a couple times this year.
Huh?
But they've done it a couple
Not
times
like
this
that.
year, you know?
They if you go back and look at the scoreboard, or look at the final score, the closest game, I think the furthest 9-10 points. They're all close.
Dan, here, I'm just saying this is all your fault that I care about the Cowboys as much as I do. And, like, I feel like your responsibility, since you're not going to root for them as much as
I'm rooting for them, Kyle. I just don't believe
listen,
it.
I didn't say that. I said you didn't let me finish my sentence.
Okay.
I don't think that you're rooting for them as much as you should.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna I'll make
Okay.
up for it, like
All right.
for you.
I probably should. I just don't want to be let down. Kind of like I'm not. When we pick the OSU-OU game in 2 weeks, I will not pick OSU. I won't. They haven't beaten them. They haven't beaten them 7 years, and it doesn't give me any indication. I mean, on paper, they're probably the second best defense in the country on paper.
But sure.
But that doesn't mean they're going to beat OU.
But isn't it better to have loved than lost than to never love at all?
Well, I have loved. It's burned me. I've been burned too many times.
Sure, but now you're afraid of loving again.
Yeah, absolutely. True. Absolute truth.
That was the Colin Cowherd metaphor of the week. So there you go.
Which was what?
I said that was the Colin Cowherd metaphor of the week for you.
Talking about love, it's better loved than not loved at all.
Yes. Yeah.
Afraid to get hurt, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would totally agree with you. And look, I know. Look, I even look back at Oklahoma State. They have never played in that Big 12 championship game, right? Ever.
Right.
That thing's been going on since what, 96? 96, 97?
Well,
No.
yes.
And
yes no, because
they
it was
quit in
on pause for
2011.
5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the year that they should have played in it, guess what? It was the first year they didn't have it.
Yeah, of course.
2011, they clearly would have played in it, but they didn't play in it because they didn't have one, right? So
This is Twilight Zone.
it is. They'll have it this year. They don't get to play in it. I mean, the only way that doesn't happen, though, I think, even if they lose this week, they're going to end up playing in it, right?
Sure.
No.
They should.
No, because
No,
Baylor would go ahead of them because they only have one loss if Baylor wins this week. So Baylor would play OU.
Yep.
What do you know?
Because OU would have the tiebreaker over OSU. Or OU would have the tiebreaker over OSU. Did I just say that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they beat Baylor.
They lost to Baylor. Maybe
Did
they
they?
do, but they have the tiebreaker. They both have 2 losses, but they beat OSU.
Help us out, Adam.
Yeah, Mr. Statmaster. So I'm sure he's got it already figured out. So if you're still with us, Adam, Mr. Statman, call him Stats. Stats, if you could tell us Baylor lost to OSU. Correct, but Baylor only has 1 loss, which is to OSU. If OSU lost to Oklahoma State,
OSU is Oklahoma
if
State.
Oklahoma State lost to OU, they would have 2 losses in the Big 12. Therefore, Baylor, and that's another thing. Let me tell you another thing. There's like three out of 4 years that OSU could have gone to the Big 12 championship game. They beat the team that won it or was in the championship game. We lost to OSU and to TCU. So your TCU beat Baylor? Oh, that's right. So OSU would go. So OSU's in.
Unless they lose
No.
the next 2 weeks.
No, they're
They have
in the
3
Big
losses.
12. Oh, yeah, if they lose this week and lose next week, that's right. You're right.
That's yeah.
They have to lose
So
they have to lose the next 2 games not to get in the Big 12 championship game.
which seems far fetched.
And you want me to tell you something?
You think it could happen?
I am more concerned about Lubbock, Texas, than I am Stillwater, Oklahoma, against OU.
Sure.
Because Lubbock, if you go back and look at history, a lot of goofy stuff happens, especially at night in Lubbock. It's
that
like
was
the Twilight
Halloween
Zone.
game a couple of years ago, right? In 2011,
yes.
That was the weird one?
No, they won that.
No, they won that one.
Yeah.
But that was a weird
But
game.
there has
That
been
was
some
the-
weird games, and I can tell you that OU's been victim of that. And I remember a few years ago when OU was playing down there, and they had like 2 touchdowns that were not even close to being touchdowns. Like in the game, they got credit for a touchdown that never crossed the goal line. They got credit for another touchdown in the end zone where the guy was bobbling it out of bounds, and they counted it a touchdown. And those were both night games. That was OU falling victim to that. 2009, says Adam. OSU does own the tiebreaker.
I was at the most OSU game possible. The last game that I've ever been to was the Central Michigan game where
yeah.
they
See,
did
that's
the hook and
another
ladder.
thing. That's another.
And well, yeah, and that was an untimed down that shouldn't have happened. And then now on top of that, that was talked about for 10 weeks because I think they only lost 2 games that whole season.
Yep. Well, they lost OU.
They lost to OU, yeah.
But yeah, because they were going in it, they thought that they would have a shot at getting in that Final Four, and they would just rule that one out because it shouldn't have counted. They would have used it to not let them in, but I'm just telling you, it was talk. Give them a mulligan.
The officials came out and said that shouldn't have happened, and so that's where maybe the computers, if they had the computers, that would have been a problem.
And also, Adam says Texas against Texas Tech Halloween game. I don't know what year that was. Maybe he's referring to 2009.
Yes, that's
another goofy thing in Lubbock, Texas. I'm just telling you, out there in West Texas, there's some goofy stuff goes on.
That was where everybody was dressed up as the Jokers.
Oh,
all that.
I remember that.
Yeah. And, that was Michael Crabtree's year.
That's right.
Incredible.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get Mr. Folks on. If you'll give me a second here, don't hang up on me.
I'm not hanging up.
See if I can get him on the line without that causing too much problem here. Hopefully it works. All right. Are you there,
Got me?
sir? Yeah, I got you.
Got me now. Yep.
Yep. Okay, hold on a second. Let me merge the calls. Almost forgot about you. Okay, we should be live.
Kyle, you there?
Hello?
Everybody there?
I'm there. Is Jeff there?
Yeah, I got me.
Okay. Well, let me
Let's
let me
go.
let me
We did
All
it.
good.
let me introduce this. So, longtime friend, fellow University of Central Oklahoma Sports Hall of Famer, and our Kansas City quote unquote beat writer, Jeff Folks. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Yeah, glad to be here. Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
Jeff,
we're-
glad to have you back. I'm glad I'm not the only guy. I love
Yep.
when you're on the show that I'm not the only Chiefs fan.
Well, now I'm teamed. I'm teamed
it
up
makes me
on.
so happy.
I feel tag teamed.
There you go. Off the turnbuckle.
Yeah.
Yes, off the turnbuckle.
Speaking, Jeff, Kyle's a big wrestling fan, and Jeff and I we actually together attended some Mid-South wrestling shows back in the
Oh,
mid
Oh my
'80s.
gosh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I've never heard that about Jeff.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we saw Hacksaw Jim Duggan, which he passed away here last month or so.
Yep. No, Duggan's
he
still
was
alive.
the headliner that night with his big 2x4.
Yeah. He's still living, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
I think
Yeah,
he died.
still around.
He's either died or he's sick.
He's sick, but he's still alive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
That's right. He hasn't left us yet.
But we did
that'll
see
be a sad day when he does.
we did see the last stampede with Bill Watts when he teamed with Stagger Lee, who was was Junkyard Dog in a mask to take on the Midnight Express. And
Yes,
if Bill Watts and Stagger Lee won, they got to put Jim Cornette in a diaper. You remember that, Jeff?
Yes, I do. Now
Yeah.
I do.
And they did.
That's awesome. I do have to say a couple things. I did. Everybody knows that, or they might know that I'm a U.S. history teacher, 8th grade, and I actually just got a T-shirt where George Washington is jumping off the turnbuckle, and with a red coat on the ground.
That's good.
There you go.
It's maybe the best T-shirt I've ever bought, for sure. And Jeff, I do have to say, also in my classroom, it proudly hangs the Red Friday flag that you got me a couple years ago.
There you go. Yeah, the champion flag. Yes.
Yes, the kids know that. I mean, they're like, "Well, we didn't win this year." I said, "That you can't take it away from me ever." So
If we didn't win that this year. We won that year.
yeah, exactly. You're not taking that away from me, kids. No way.
That's right. Maybe they've righted the ship and we're going to be back heading that way again this year. So.
I think so. I believe so. But you got to tell us the vibe there in Kansas City, Jeff.
Yes. Well, it's cautiously optimistic. I mean, they had that weird stretch where Mahomes seemed to be off, and the defense was supposed to be vastly improved, and they weren't. And just a lot of things weren't clicking. But the Raider game, it could have been because it's Raider week, and
Yeah.
just for everybody that doesn't know, here in Kansas City, the few hours after the previous game, it becomes Raider week, and there's a whole week long of a lot of Raider hater week in town, and the newscast talk
The
about
Raiders.
Raider week. they talk about Raider week, and it all started back with Schottenheimer, because Schottenheimer evidently did not like the Oakland Raiders at all, and he would talk it up all week long about his Raider week. It's a different thing, and it's be analogous to OU Texas, the banter that goes on there. So don't know if they just got fired up for that or they're truly kind of turned the corner, but they did seem to take care of some of the problems they were having, and so we'll see what happens. I mean, everybody's, like I said, they're cautiously optimistic that if they come out and play like they did last week, this week, then I think people will realize or be back on the we're on the right track bandwagon versus the oh no, what are we going to do bandwagon.
Yeah, people were. I think their hands have been firmly. They haven't pressed it yet, but we've all kind of had our hands on the panic button ready.
yeah.
It's been prepared, but yeah, I would agree with you, Jeff. Like there's a different vibe this week. Like I was like, my Chiefs are back. Like that's kind of how it felt. And
I tell you
but
what.
I'm also
I don't
like,
know. Honestly, everybody's playing. The Tampa defense that shut down the Chiefs in the Super Bowl is what everybody's playing against them.
yeah,
And granted, the offensive line is young. Well, not young, but they're new together. A couple of young guys on there. But if the other team can rush with 3 or 4 guys, it really makes it tough. So they get their line issues worked out, and then they can deal with the too high coverage, and then which happened last week. They were able to maintain just offensive line blocking and then move the ball down the field. But I will say this, though, one more thing. One of the big it started with a radio station up here, 610, but it's starting to kind of catch on now. Creed Humphrey is the highest rated center in all of the NFL. Not just amongst rookies, but amongst all centers. So they're trying to put a little bit of a Creed Humphrey for Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, although there's never been a lineman win it. But he has the highest grade of every NFL center, and he's the highest rated rookie on the offense. So like a 91 or 92 rating. So Creed's just killing it. He's been doing it all year long.
And they've kind of started to run behind him too, which is huge. So enough about our Chiefs. We gotta talk about our opponents now.
Well, I was going to actually say something about it. I thought the key to victory last week was the fact that Jackson Mahomes was not on the sidelines before the game.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I mean,
he wasn't dancing, so it would help.
That and the X Factor and Red Extreme have buried the hatchet or whatever.
Well, before we get into our predictions, because one of the reasons the last thing we're going to do is analyze the Cowboys-Chiefs game, but I want to kind of get Jeff's input on college football. And one of the things we were talking about earlier, I don't know if you were listening to the show, that, what happens if OSU, Notre Dame, Cincinnati are in this 4, 5, 6, 7 range, and the committee, is going to go. In other words, I guess the question is, what your opinion? Which direction? Let's say OSU wins out, Cincinnati's undefeated, Notre Dame wins out. Which one of those teams gets in, and who's left out, or if any of them get in?
Well, assuming everybody wins out, including the top 4 right now, because Oregon has no business being up there. The Pac-10, the Pac-12 is worse than the Big 12 and the ACC. It's just, but they have to. They're putting Oregon up there because they want West Coast TVs.
Yeah,
we all know what that's about. So, if they were to win out, they're going to put them up there whether they need to or not. But I think of those 3, it gets really difficult because Oklahoma State would have the best resume, if you will, because they're a Power 5 conference. They beat several ranked people, being OU, Baylor, Iowa State. Have beat those guys. They won the Big 12. They'd have to go in at number 4. But that being said, the committee likes let's say storylines. They bow to media pressure. I don't know if that's the right word either, but my point I'm getting
ESPN?
to is Notre Dame is a national.
That's what I think.
Brand, and they have their own their own TV station and Notre Dame Broadcasting Network or Broadcasting Company, NBC. And so I would think they would try to put them in. They would try to put them in just because of their Notre Dame, not if they deserve it or not. But I mean, if you try to figure out what they're going to do, I think Cincinnati's host no matter what, because they're going to have a really poor resume because they don't play anybody. I mean, their conference is going to be really lowly ranked as far as their strength of schedule is going to be low. So they'll screw those guys over, no problem. So it'll come down to Oklahoma State and Notre Dame. The only thing I think is helping Oklahoma State if they went out is Notre Dame was there last year and got blasted.
Yeah.
So they might not put them back because, we don't see that happen.
Right.
They've also done that twice. They've done that twice now at this point.
Yeah. And so they're like, there's a shot when you talk through this that if Oklahoma State can win out and win the Big 12, they should be 4. I mean, actually, they probably should be 3. But
they want to get them out fast.
What happens if Alabama gets beat by Georgia in the SEC? They're going to have 2 losses. They could put a 2-loss team in?
No. Well, they will if it's
So,
Alabama.
Yeah, if it's Alabama, they'll put them in.
I think they're in no matter what unless they lose 2. And they're not going to lose 2 because, well, I guess they could. They have the – who do they play this week? Like Norman High or something?
Yeah, but they have to play Georgia in the championship game, and Georgia could beat them.
But do they have another SEC game before that?
But, yeah, Auburn.
So let's say they lose to Auburn and they lose to Georgia, then they would be out. But I think if
they would be.
But if they lose to Georgia in the championship game, I think there's a good chance they still get in.
Yeah, and that's just based on the fact that they have a good recruiting class. Because it's on the field, it's not on the field because on the field they got 2 losses.
Yeah, I agree.
And there's no I don't think I've read some articles, seen some discussions that the committee would shoot itself in the foot and the head at the same time if they put a 2-loss Alabama in over an undefeated Cincinnati.
Well,
they lose all credibility.
But they'll do it.
Granted, Alabama would beat Cincinnati, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
The point is what did you do this year in your body of work for the year? And if you're undefeated Cincinnati and they put them ahead of a 2-loss Alabama ahead of them because they think they could beat them, which is probably true.
Well, I tell you what, the uproar from that might finally get us to an 8-team playoff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I mean, that would cause
I think that
pandemonium.
12-team playoff is more likely within the next couple of years, or 5 years or so.
Well,
but
how about
that's the only thing that's going to save this.
Do you think they would do that just to force the hand?
No. I think they like their 14 thing.
Committee's not smart enough to do that. That's the thing.
No,
I don't think. I think they're all self-serving.
And the mothership is in charge of it still. Like they'll cry foul because they got more games. Like, and then other networks cry foul too because they can't have all 12 games. Like that was not a part of the agreement.
Yeah.
So like, it's all TV. It's all TV money that's controlling it right now.
Exactly.
Like
right.
And I don't think I like truly understood that until this year. I mean, I think we did. We all knew it. But now they're just coming out and saying it. They're not even hiding it anymore.
Right, yeah.
Seems
I mean, it's
America.
ludicrous how they approach it now. I think, and honestly, for me, this is my own personal opinion, it should either be 8 teams or 16 teams. Make everybody play. Don't give anybody days off. Yeah, because a 12 team is going to give you, 2 or 3 or 4, I guess.
You have 4 buys.
And all the other divisions, from Division 1 AA, which is what they call it FCS now. FCS down to D3. Play a 16-team playoff, and they always say, the student athletes, and so you're saying either the D1 athletes aren't smart enough to be able to handle it, but everybody else can.
Yes,
I don't believe it. I think they can handle it just like the D3. I mean, Danny, you and I, back in our day, we were going to playoffs every year at Central Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We traveled and had to worry about finals, and we got to work.
Yeah.
We all graduated.
Yeah,
so they'll figure it out.
Those kids they're going to school for these big programs to go to college to play football. Like, stop kidding us.
Yeah.
Right. they have tutors and people take care of them on the road. It's not the same. I mean,
right.
I mean, there's when I know here, Kansas, when they travel during, I guess it's during spring break or March Madness, they have tutor proctor or test proctors go with them. They take tests on the road because they thought, the test proctor was here today for 3 of the athletes to take that test. I'm like, well, okay, sure. So they're not missing class. They figured it out. My point is they figure it out, right? If D1 basketball can do March Madness, football players can figure out how to navigate a couple of weeks in December before finals to take care of their classes and still play football.
Yep.
So before we get into predictions and talk about the Cowboys-Chiefs game, I got to address Baker Mayfield for a second. Is he not turned into the reincarnation of Brett Favre if I ever saw one? His thing today was that even necessary?
I missed what he said today.
Yeah, he brought the Julius Jones thing out and cried and walked off the podium.
Yeah, I heard about it, didn't see it, and I don't know if he was baited into that or something. the article I read said he's been passionate about the Julius Jones situation for a number of years. But and not living there, I don't know the details. Try to read up on it, see what the deal was. It's apparently looks to be innocent, or may not be innocent, or could be innocent.
Well,
or something, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know why athletes decide they need to talk about social issues because they end up looking foolish.
Well, I'm pretty sure that. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I didn't catch the whole interview, but I'm almost betting that Baker brought it up on his own. But I could be wrong.
Okay,
I could be wrong.
Well, yeah, I think that there could be a little bit of like, I don't know. It's become a big social issue. A lot of younger kids are talking about it and all of that. Like, it may be one of those things that he feels that his voice is from Oklahoma and there's not a lot of voices being heard at that, on that level. So he feels like he can enact change. That's good for him. Like, I see it differently than a lot of people. You know me. I'm a little more different in the way that I view things. But yeah, I'll have to listen to that for sure. And
I don't know enough about the Julius Jones case, or whether he's apparently.
Well, there's definitely both sides have valid points, but
exactly.
It depends on who you want to believe. I mean, I can tell you one key point, and I'll give both sides just because I've kind of read a little bit today, and I'm not giving an opinion either way. One side says he was home with his dinner eating when the time of the murder. Another side says, well, they identified the shooter as somebody wearing a red bandana, and they found the red bandana in his house with his DNA on it. And the person who they tried to make it out to be did not have their DNA on it. So you can go either side.
Yeah. And I think that's the point that everybody's trying to make is that there's two sides, and we're kind of unsure, then don't send the guy to the chair. Like I think that's the whole point that people are making. But anyway, we got too political.
We did.
But I think him being, he could be Favre in the end, not for this reason, but he does kind of wear his heart on his sleeve like Favre did, and he runs around like Favre. Although Favre stays healthier early in his career than Baker.
Yeah, he had probably a better line too.
Pretty bad.
Well,
Favre is way better though too.
True. Much as I hate to admit it. Well, I can't stand either one of them, so whatever. But he reminds me of Favre.
Yes.
And especially in his actions. Maybe not the way he plays, but in his actions. Okay. Yeah. And then one last question, Jeff. You think it's time to fire Steve Sarkisian yet at Texas after 1 year?
Oh, man. It's brutal down there.
You know what his buyout is?
No, I don't. But it doesn't matter.
Kyle, do you know what his buyout is?
No, but I do know that they're 0-3 since the monkey incident, so that's on them.
Their buyout for him is $40 million.
What?
Oh my God!
That's 3 phone calls instead of 2.
Just a minute.
Just 2 phone calls to boosters now.
I'll be right back. Okay, we'll do it.
We got it. He's gone.
$40 million.
I think they're finally trying to figure out to let the guy have. I read some articles today, actually, just by coincidence. You bring that up, and the big point of most of the articles was you got to give him time because he's been here and they don't, you don't have his players, this and that. I'm just like, maybe, but you still don't lose to Kansas. You can't get over that one.
I don't even remember them being this bad ever. And I grew up in Texas.
And also the articles talk about him. He has lost the locker room. The players are no longer playing for him.
Well, they're losing.
And it shows.
You're going to lose the locker room when you're losing.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens this week. They have to go on the road to West Virginia. They don't have Bijan. They don't have a couple of those key at West Virginia, and they won't. That means they will not be bowl eligible, or can't be bowl eligible. Then he might have a come to Jesus meeting with the boosters. It won't be with the AD because AD doesn't control. They'll be with the boosters.
Yeah.
They'll give him an ultimatum and figure out what's going on. My question is not that he's going to stay. I wonder if any of their high-profile recruits flip that haven't, because right now everybody's just verbal. They haven't signed anything.
Well, it's so easy for them to change it now. Well, even the ones you do have, they're playing for them. I mean, they leave. That's what you better look out for.
So maybe they need to give him as much time as Scott Frost gets, because that makes sense up in Nebraska.
Well, how many years has he had?
There. He's on his fifth year, and they said he gets to stay next year.
Are you ready to make a change?
What?
Are you ready to make a change at Nebraska?
Oh, yeah, I
right.
am.
So you're a big high on him, too, weren't you?
I was, but I just think he's so arrogant.
Yeah.
I think I'm over that. The stuff that happened last year where, COVID itself was even enough to make me, so mad at the program for that. And not only bigger than COVID, they're bigger than the Big Ten itself. So,
well, I will defend that. The only thing I'll defend on that, maybe not what he said about COVID and all that, because of course I don't think I have a different opinion about that. But when all the other part of the college football world was playing, except for the Big Ten, they did look kind of foolish.
Yeah.
Because SEC, back Big 12, ACC, they all were playing and nobody was dying in the stands. It was or on the field.
Right.
And so him wanting to play, I'm like, more power to him, dude. I thought he should have scheduled Little Sisters of the Poor and played them every week until that Big Ten started playing, because it was foolish for Big Ten to do that. It was typical, bureaucrats making decisions for things they didn't know, because everybody else seems to be, like I said, when SEC and the Big 12, ACC are playing and there's no kids dying in the middle of the field, in the middle of the game, then they probably could figure out, hey, maybe we can play.
Yeah, I'll buy that for sure. They were kind of the lone soldiers on that. I just thought they were pretty arrogant about it. And I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I applauded him for his stance for that, just because, I think he saw through the BS quicker than most.
Yeah. Well, it might have saved his job, actually, a little bit, even more.
Yeah.
So, he saved football for a year, so he had to stick around.
Okay, so we come to that part of our show where we pick the games of the week. We're going to do the Chiefs-Cowboys game last, because some of us probably going to have differences of opinion, and we want to kind of make it count. So we want to keep the audience around for a couple more minutes and hear the color. So we'll start in college. Jeff, so we'll pick a game. We do it straight up, and you'll be our guest picker for the week. You ready?
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
Here we go. So first game, Iowa State at Oklahoma. Jeff, you get the honors.
Well, I'm going to take Oklahoma at home.
Okay.
You're at home, that's why.
KC?
No, maybe not.
I'll take Oklahoma as well.
Gunslinger?
Make it 3.
Okay, and I will concur. I concur. Oklahoma State at Texas Tech. Gunslinger, you have the honors.
Oh, boy. I'm going OSU.
Okay. Kyle?
I'll go with the Pokes.
I am going to do the same. Jeff?
Yeah, same here.
Okay.
I don't see Texas Tech winning.
And Michigan State at Ohio State. I'll take this one first. I'll go.
Okay.
I'll go take Ohio State. Go ahead.
I'll
we got
take
Adam guest picking today. Hold on, let me get him in here. Okay, Mr. Guest Picker here. He's got OU, and he's got. What are you trying to do to us over here, Adam? You're going to get banned for sure. He picked Tech.
Of course he did.
All right, Michigan State, Ohio State. Jeff.
I go Ohio State at home.
Okay. Gunslinger.
Yeah. Michigan State is not. No. It's Ohio.
And looks like Adam picks Ohio State. And Kyle?
I got Ohio State as well.
Yeah. Okay. And then SMU at Cincinnati. Remember, SMU's 8-2, guys, or 7-2.
I'm going to take SMU on
Yeah.
that just for the giggles, because I think they've looked pretty good, and Cincinnati's not one convincing the past few weeks.
And
so
Tulsa
I'll go
almost
there.
beat them.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeff?
Is the quarterback Mordecai? Is he still playing, or is he's not hurt? Is he?
You're asking the wrong guy there.
I think he is. It's the guy over at the other OU guy at TCU got hurt last week. So I'm going to SMU because they've kind of struggled early in the middle, but I'm kind of going an upset here. I go with SMU.
Adam Kosh goes pony up, SMU.
Pony up, let's go.
And then Gunslinger.
I'm going to go Cincy.
You know what?
You got to pick different.
I'm going
somewhere.
SMU. Yeah, I'm going SMU.
Pony up.
All right. In the last college game, 1, 2, 3. Last week I really messed up. So the last college game, Oregon at Utah. This will be a tough one. I'm going to take Utah.
Okay.
I'll take Oregon.
Gunslinger?
No, that was me. Oregon.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Kyle?
I will take I'll take Oregon.
Jeff?
I'm going to go Utah at home because I just think Oregon's just took the Pac-12. They'll figure out a way to lose it.
And Adam Kosh picks Oregon. Okay, going to the pros. Indianapolis at Buffalo. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. I'm picking Buffalo, by the way.
I agree with you, Dan. Nobody does circle the wagons like the Bills.
Jeff?
Yeah, Bills.
Make it 4.
Okay, there we go. And so does Adam Kosh.
Unanimous.
So everybody picked Buffalo. Okay. The Packers at the Packers at the Vikes, Minnesota. In Minnesota. That's what it means at.
Packers.
Okay. Pack. Jeff?
Yeah, I'm going Pack.
Casey?
You know what? You're going to laugh at me, but the Vikings have played such weird games this year that this one just seems weird enough that they might be the Packers, so I'm going to go with the Vikings.
You picked them last week, too, didn't you not?
I think I did.
And Adam has the Packers. You know what? KC, I'm going to go with you.
Let's go. Come on.
All right. Miami, here's the dud. Here, what do we call it? What's our dud week game called? Deep cuts.
I can't even remember.
Deep cut game of the week.
Deep cut game of the week. Yeah.
Miami at New York Jets. Jeff.
Gross.
I'll take Miami by default.
Gunslinger.
You know, they say defense wins championships. This is
Not this case.
this is the number 32 defense versus the number 31 defense.
And who's 31 and 32?
32 is Miami and 31 is New York Jets, but I'm going to go with Miami.
You're kidding me.
I am
oh my
not.
God.
Not at all. And they're 30 and 31 in rushing. 30th and 31st in rushing.
Oh, that's ugly.
Adam goes with Miami. Casey?
I'm going to go with Miami.
You know what? I'm going with the New York Football Jets.
You know what? Give me the Jets. I want the Jets.
Don't make me change
I want
your
the
mind.
Jets. Give them to me.
All right.
Although Jets have been playing better lately, yo.
Yeah.
Give them
They
that.
have.
And they're at home.
Of late.
Well, the Mike White train died.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
He was the second coming of Tom Brady, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I
For
figured.
a week and a series.
Yeah.
No, that's definitely Mac Jones now, though, the second coming of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
The Cincinnati Bengals against the Las Vegas Raiders.
Where's it at? Is that Cincy?
No, it is at Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
So, home game either way. Great.
Gunslinger.
Well, the quarterback with the most interceptions in the entire NFL is Joey Burrow. So I will take the Raiders.
The Raiders. I'm going to... Adam, you got a pick on that one? He's got the Raiders.
You got to hold on to the ball.
Jeff? Did we lose you?
Very well last week
Oh, there you are.
against the Chiefs, but don't know. My gut says Cincinnati.
Wow.
Maybe it's just I hate the
So
Raiders.
So does mine. I'm going with Cincinnati as well.
I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Okay.
I'm either going to play myself back in this thing, or and by the way, I need to give the overalls, or I'm going to play myself out. So before we pick the last game, let me just go over our standings at this point between
Pretty
us
sure
three.
I've put myself in the last place.
So not only you're not either.
What?
Kyle, the week before last, the last 2 weeks he was 15-10. No, that's not correct. 15-5 the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
And then Josh, you were
5 and
12-8, and I was 11-9 the last 2 weeks. So overall, I am dead last with 60-42. 60-42. Gunslinger is 61-41, a game ahead, and in first place for like the first time this year, KC Cookie is at 62-40. 62
I told you I was coming back. I told you I was.
But there's a game that separates us all, or two games at the widest
man,
margin.
Yep.
It's
Gotta
close.
stay on top.
So something's going to break this week, though.
Yep.
So now the game of the week, the Dallas Cowboys go into Arrowhead Stadium to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. So, Jeff, this is why we got you on the show. Let me hear your breakdown.
Well, if the Chiefs play like they did last week, it's going to be about 34-21, 34-18, somewhere in there. They'll score over 30 points. I think they can hold Dallas to under 30. So I'm going Chiefs all the way. They come out and lay an egg like they did a few weeks ago, it'll be ugly. But I think they're turned the corner and figured it out. They're doing so. I'm going Chiefs.
Just for fun, I think we should all pick a score this week, just for fun. Adam,
Okay.
give me a score, and then what was your prediction on the score?
Was it 34-21?
34-21, and he's going with Kansas City.
Yep.
Okay. Since Kyle and I have a dog in the hunt here, sort of. Well, so did Jeff. We'll go last. So, Gunslinger, who wins in the score?
So tough.
And Adam, I need your score, by the way.
Because I said earlier in the broadcast that Casey is number one in offense, number one in passing, but 30th in defense. Meanwhile, Dallas is number 2 in offense and number 9 in defense. So,
And they have the best secondary guy in the NFL.
yeah. The it factor, though, is whether or not Jackson Mahomes is on the sidelines before the game. So,
Well, it's a home game. He might have his own spot down there. So.
oh, gosh, I hope not. I picked KC, but I'm going to give myself an out and say if Jackson Mahomes is on the sideline, they lose. And I think it's going to be convincing one way or the other. So it's going to be, I like your 34-21. I'll go 45-25.
Chiefs?
Chiefs.
Okay. Casey?
You're gonna make me go first, huh?
Yeah, I am. It's my show.
So
It's our show.
Here's what I'm thinking. Okay, where the Chiefs are 6-4 right now. They are. I think that the Cowboys are actually going to win this.
What?
Okay.
You're killing me.
I really do.
You're doing
genuinely
this just
do.
to make
I
me
feel it
mad,
in my
aren't you?
gut.
You're trying to make me mad.
So I have to say something nice about the Chiefs. I think they win this game. They might lose this game. And then I don't think they lose a game the rest of the season because they play interdivision opponents so well, and they play 5 out of their last 7 games are against interdivision opponents. And they play the Steelers, and I think they play the Bengals are the other 2 teams they play, and I think that they'll win those games handily. So I say that with a caveat. I think the Cowboys will win, but I think the Chiefs will win the rest of their games after that.
So we didn't ask
So
you
my
that, though.
score, My score is 37-28 Cowboys.
I hate you.
Yeah, it's fine.
Adam
That's
picked
fine.
31-21 Cowboys, by the way.
He picked what?
31-21 Cowboys.
It is tough not
Okay.
to pick the Cowboys. I almost want to reverse, but I'm not going to.
So, what is the national media saying in this game, Kyle?
So they haven't really talked about it from what I'm hearing, because we're not close. I mean, I'll hear more Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
But it's the game of the week, so we're going to hear a lot about it these next few days. But I think they're all working on the fact that the Chiefs look like they're somewhat back next week, so it's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
I think that's how everybody feels.
I'll say is I think Dallas wins if the scores are under, the total's under 50. It's a close game. That will mean that the Chiefs' offense isn't working. But if Chiefs score 30 plus, I don't see them losing because it could be a shootout.
Yeah.
38.
Kind of like Cowboys against the Broncos a few years
score,
ago.
That's the only chance. I think the only reason that Dallas would be able to
The
win.
number one offense
We
versus the
have
number
to
two
protect the
offense.
We have to protect the football, though. We can't have any turnovers,
Okay.
anything like that. Like, none of that.
All right. So, conventional wisdom, all right, tells you Cowboys have more talent outside of Tyreek Hill. They have more wide receivers. They have a better running back. They have a better KC has Mahomes. Dallas clearly has the best defense. Kansas City has the best coach. Dallas has the best defensive player on the field. Kansas City has two of the best offensive players on the field.
Three.
Who are you counting?
Travis Kelce.
Oh, Kelce, yeah. But the Cowboys have Ezekiel Elliott. They have, without a doubt, the deepest wide receiver core in the NFL. Without a doubt.
CD is money.
I mean,
Sure.
well, you got Lamb, you got Cooper, you got Gallup back, you've got all these other guys you hadn't even heard of yet can catch the ball. They're great receivers. I mean, they're loaded at wide receiver. And what was the stat last week at first? Like the first quarter and a half, he threw to 9 different wide receivers. Dak did.
That's absurd.
I mean, so conventional wisdom says that Dallas is the better football team.
They should win the game.
They also play really well on the road against teams that are really good. Patriots, they beat on the road. Chargers, they beat on the road. When they're at home, they don't play so well against good football teams. But with that thought in mind, it's still the Dallas Cowboys.
Uh-oh. Where are we going? Where are we going?
I go Cowboys. I go Chiefs 31-30. And probably one of 3 things will happen, and I know this is broad. Number 1, our field goal kicker misses a field goal at the end of the game to lose the game. Number 2, Mike McCarthy figures that he can't manage a football game towards the end of the game and don't even get an opportunity to kick the field goal to win the game because he can't figure out how to line up and get a ball off. Or number 3, the referee will blow a call. So one of those things will happen.
I think this year we definitely know that number 3 will happen, regardless.
Referee's going to blow a call.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen. Have you seen, by the way, how did we not talk about this every week this season? The referees, my Lord, I want the referees from the referee strike back in the day. I want those guys back.
It's been bad.
I still can't figure out how you get thrown or get a flag for a low block when you didn't block anybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could talk about this all night, but C.D. Lamb gets fined $25,000 for waving at a guy that hit him late after the play was over with.
Oh,
and all he did was wave and smile. He got a $25,000 fine. Really? Or whatever it was, $11,000.
Yeah,
whatever it was.
It was a $2,500 fine for the wave. But then his socks were too low, and that was a fine. And overall, it was like 11, 12,
and then against Minnesota, there was 3 or 4 personal foul penalties against the Cowboys on the Vikings on that last drive where they kicked the field goal, and even the announcers were going crazy, like, guys, it was that Sunday night game. on
Oh, yeah.
Halloween. He
Yeah,
goes,
yeah.
"Oh, Chris Collinsworth." He goes, "Guys, I don't know. I don't see this. I don't what they're."
I don't.
You know
what
what's
is
bad
happening
when,
right
when,
now? Yeah.
when the broadcasters
Yeah.
are saying,
What is going on?
yeah.
I love the referee that hip checked the dude.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh, my Lord.
I don't
That-
don't even get me started on that Bears game.
You know what? Let's
Oh,
start the
my
show
God.
over. This is the referee edition.
Yeah.
Welcome
Well,
to
that whole thing about
broadcast.
that Bears game was I didn't have a dog in that fight. I didn't really care one way or the other. I was sitting there appalled at the calls they were making. It's like,
oh,
I
It just
had
blew me
bad
away.
tears. Yeah, it was bad because I do like the Bears,
hip check.
and it
taunting.
was very hard to watch
Yeah.
Oh.
because Justin Fields was so good too, and I was super pumped, and it was a rough go at it.
Hey, by the way, sorry, I know we're wrapping up here, but that referee that hip checked the dude and then gave him a taunting penalty, like, has anything
Yeah.
happened to that referee? Do we know,
I'm
or
sure there
or
will.
will we ever?
I'm
no,
sure.
Because the NFL, yeah, they'll tell you about all the fines for socks
Yeah.
being too low, but will they tell you about their own boys? Because that's them ratting on themselves.
He
right.
defended that guy, said he made the right call, and that his hip check was they didn't even notice it. It was apparently was inadvertent. And,
Yeah, he was
and
stepping
they
back.
support the guy. Basically, nothing happened to him. At least publicly, nothing happened
Yeah.
to him. Maybe behind. The
I
scenes.
think that
sure.
what they do is they pull them off certain games. They penalize them by not letting them work games.
I hope
Yeah.
they do, because
That's what
honestly,
always been
I
done,
mean,
and traditionally that's what they do.
all joking, all
Yeah.
laughing aside, that was pathetic. That was
Well, I don't know if you guys saw, there was Chrissy Sims was on one of the shows, his show, and he had a run-in with that same ref, and the ref made it personal with him. He told a personal story with him.
Yeah.
It happened to him with that same ref, and that he didn't help him out or something, and just because Chris complained about a call.
Yeah.
It was funny because he blasted. This guy is not. He takes things personal. He takes it on players. He goes, him hitching the guy. He goes, I guarantee he did it on purpose. This kind of guy he is.
oh, it's you. I mean, the entire world saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No
was
doubt.
pretty upset
Oh,
about that one.
sorry but not sorry as well. That needed to be talked about.
All right, guys. Jeff, I appreciate you coming on.
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff. By the way, sorry, Dan.
Go ahead.
Excuse me. I know I laughed at you at the beginning of the show, all that. Don't mute me again. But, Jeff, it was a pleasure. I know we've never met in person. We've only talked on the phone just this time. I did look you up on Twitter. I saw some of your stuff. I liked it. I did see your Rookie of the Year post there on Twitter. That was great.
There you go.
And, hey, it was a pleasure having you on. I hope we get to talk again.
Jeff and I
thank you guys.
you may not know the history, but he and I were both athletic trainers during the glory days of Central State Broncos, which is obviously UCO. He actually graduated the year before we won the national championship, but he and I were there.
Yeah, you know what? This is, I don't know if I told you this, Dan, but here's a funny story. So I graduated, went and got a job.
Mhm.
I came back and saw Charlie Murdoch, our athletic director, who's the guy that gave us our scholarship.
Right.
He goes, I wish I could do his voice because it was funny. He goes, folks, what are you doing? So I'm working down at Oakland Medical Research Foundation. He goes, you're not going to school? I went, no. And he goes, well, your scholarship was for 5 years. I said, and now you tell me.
Should have
So I
took the
could've
5-year
stayed in
plan.
School, gone to graduate school, been on the national championship football team.
Stuck around
And
another year.
He forgot to tell me last spring. So I was like, holy cow. He goes, well, come on back. Quit your job. I'm like, no, it's
Yeah,
too late.
yeah.
It's moved on.
We'll get him next year. How about them Bears?
Yeah.
He goes, well, heck, folks, everybody knows that. I'm like, no, they don't.
Apparently not.
He goes, your scholarship's always been for 5 years. And nobody told me that. He goes, oh, hell, folks. No.
Yeah.
So
Charles
I
Murdoch
missed my chance at the ring.
was an old school
Funny.
football coach, the chaw of tobacco in his cheek, and just he was definitely old school. Old school.
He was an old school,
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, he was he come
You
back
have the
from
short shorts.
No, he didn't.
Oh, those are
But
my favorite guys.
he was definitely old school guy, no doubt. Those were the glory days. UCO has not seen days like that since. Although they got close a few years ago, they were late '80s, I think, or '90s. No, it was late '90s. They were top team in the country till they lost a game at home here in the playoffs. I think against one of those Texas teams, but
yeah.
But anyway, they just their coach had been there 10 years, resigned Sunday, so they're looking for a new coach. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they'll find. I talked with some people there today, and they have a couple of guys that have already applied that are looking like really good candidates. They're solid.
Yep.
Are you one of them?
Big time. No, big time D2 school, D2 coaches that have done it at other schools previously and had success. They've already applied. The thing is Central Oklahoma has the best facilities in the country now.
Yep. And
Probably
it's
all
gotten better.
the way to FCS even.
It's going to get better.
What they have is just
that's
amazing.
Well, the Paycom guy just donated like $25 million or whatever, upgrade all kinds of stuff, stadium, and they're going to need new turf. They're going to get another level. They're going to get another level on the visitor side. I think they're going to add add to the press box, which is already phenomenal. They're going to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, the end zone, the south end zone, is going to have rocks and a water features. They want it to look like the outfield of Angel Stadium.
Yeah.
So it's going to be
cool.
It's going to be phenomenal. He's already given $15 million. He's given another 10 now.
That's what it is.
So,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No big deal.
No.
So,
and then they'll get.
So with that, I mean, they should be able to get a coach, and that coach should be able to recruit. That's the whole key is recruiting. The thing with Nick Bobeck, who I know personally, is a really, really good guy, a great guy. He just didn't recruit very well, and he only had 4 winning seasons out of 10 years. So he did resign. He wasn't asked to resign. He resigned on his own. I got that information today too. So wish him luck wherever he goes, and they can move on to, it's probably time for a change after 10 years and, only 4 years of winning records.
But, they were so close because most of their years that they were really good, they were only like about a touchdown away from being in the playoffs because they would lose games towards the end that were just kind of – it was almost like OSU-ish. They found a way to, blow a 21-point lead with 6 minutes left in the game or something goofy.
I think this year they only had 1 or 2 games that they really kind of got
that's true.
blown out. Most of the games were very close, and they just would lose them. Just couldn't get quite over the hump. But
all right, Jeff, it's always good talking to you, man. If you get in town, let me know, brother.
I will do it. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
All right.
Go Chiefs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, bye. Goodbye.
See ya. All right.
He was awesome.
Yeah, he's good. He's pretty knowledgeable, and he
awesome.
always provides entertainment. He's a funny guy. Back in the day, and we even had a little comment about this on Facebook a couple of weeks ago. It was around Halloween, and I don't remember he was dressed up or something as Halloween. Oh no, it wasn't him. It was one of the guys that we went to this costume party back like my junior year, and all 3 of us went as characters of MASH. And Jeff was Hawkeye, and he looks just like. If you look at his picture, it's kind of hard to see it now.
Yeah.
But he was dressed in the red robe and the the cowboy hat.
Yeah.
And then
I used to watch.
And then one of the other guys was Corporal Klinger.
Who were you?
I was Radar.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then one of the guys that won it was Colonel Blake, and he looked just like Colonel Blake. We were all looked, and I kind of looked like Radar because I was short and the glasses and everything else. So
watching MASH as a kid is the first thing.
Yep.
That's what got me into aviation.
Yeah.
That bubble helicopter looking thing, and today I still work in the aviation industry.
I mean, it's definitely one of the, in my opinion, one of the best comedies ever. I mean, it's in that category of top 5.
And
in
I
off
was
season,
so
we'll
young.
have to do.
Yeah, I was so
comedies,
young that I don't remember. I mean, honestly, anything about it, but I remember seeing it in some of the characters.
Some of the funniest episodes are, we'll in our off season when we get through football season, we'll definitely have best comedies ever show.
Can we actually? Speaking of that, and you brought up the Buffalo Wild Wings, button and all that. Can we slow this season down a little bit?
What do you mean?
How did we get into week 11 or 12, whatever this is, of the NFL season?
You remember, we're only halfway through NFL.
I know, but it started yesterday.
No, it didn't.
I mean, it feels like it.
I mean, we still got, if you count the Super Bowl, we're still.
Yeah, I know. We got a lot of football left. But
December, January. We got 2 more months left.
But I tell
2.5 months.
I know.
Yeah.
You can listen to that, though.
Yeah.
It's just
And then
sad.
how long
It's
do we
sad.
have to wait?
It's sad.
Like 6 more months after that?
Realistically,
I mean,
we
come on.
only been at it for 2 months. So because I guess you can count August, September, October. We've been at 3 months, and we got 2.5 to go.
Look,
So-
I'll make some
I
phone
hate
calls.
it.
I'll
Yeah,
make
me
some
too.
phone calls.
Me too. Yeah, call the Buffalo Wild Wings team.
Yep,
We need to
for sure.
Yeah, get the sprinkler system and come out and all that good stuff.
Yes, please.
Jeez.
All right. Well, this comes part of our show where we turn it to the devotion side. And while Kyle's getting himself ready, I'll tell you a little bit more about our show. If you're tuned in for the first time and the name kind of fits it, we are Fatihletic. Fatihletic, the podcast, is a show that incorporates sports and faith. And at the end of the day, we know, we want to spread the good news to people, the gospel. And so we'll have a devotional period, a couple of minutes. One of us will always do that unless we have a guest that does it. And today, KC, Cookie, will be doing the devotion.
Can I say one thing about the whole Fatihletic and the name?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to
Go
anyway.
ahead. Before you do that, you guys ever watch the commercial with the guy that acts kind of like he's Dr. Phil, and he says, "I deal with young homeowners that become their parents."
Yes.
Nope.
Oh,
Yes. Yes.
I love those commercials. Those
I gotta
and-
tell
Those
this.
are my favorite.
I got to tell this. So last Sunday before last, our church is getting ready to go to Israel. And they had a meeting, which I'm not going, but my wife is. And so I was asked to attend the meeting so I'd have more information. So they're talking about all these things they need to do. And the pastor goes, "Make sure you pack some snacks." And I go, "Nope." And about 4 or 5 people started laughing. Of course, he didn't get it because he hadn't seen it.
Well, because he
Hadn't seen the commercial,
Yeah.
but the timing was perfect.
Oh, I wish I had been there. I
I love
those
I
commercials.
Love,
Go ahead, Casey.
my favorite one's you're at the airport 2.5 hours early.
That's
Yes.
Like,
Somebody
that-
should have left a little earlier.
Yep, and
Yep,
I
and
love the
then-
one at the football game when now we're still planning on leaving in the third quarter. Well, let's not talk about
Yeah.
leaving before the game starts.
We're not going to talk about parking lots anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. The
But no. What I was going to
yeah.
say is, even though we finish up and the faith part of it is at the end, and it is kind of the brief thing at the end. It is the first part of the name, and that's because it is the most important part.
Absolutely.
So don't let yourself be fooled. The fact that
Yep.
we throw this in at the end as if it's an afterthought, it is nothing of
Yep.
the sort. The reason the name says Fatihletic, faith first,
Yep.
always.
Yep. And as we get more into our off season, you'll see it tend to more favor the faith side than it does the sports side. So because
Yep.
sports, there's just not as much to talk about when football season's over. So, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well,
All right.
Agreed.
If you have not seen any of our previous episodes, there's a couple of different ways that you can go back and watch what we've done so far. There's over 50 episodes posted on our YouTube channel. It's called Fatihletic. You just got to type in faith, just like it sounds, Letic, Letic, Letic. Yeah, I spelled it right. And hit the little subscribe button and the bell, and every time a new episode is posted, it will alert you. All first 8 episodes of season 3, which we're in now, have been posted. Episode 9, and this episode I'll have posted probably by the weekend. So we're only really 1 episode behind, not counting this one, and getting posted. We've had a phenomenal amount of guests over the last 3 seasons of doing this, from pastors here in Oklahoma City to world record holder powerlifters. We've had football coaches from across the country. We've had the founder and president of Good Athlete Project, Mr. Jim Davis. He's been on our program before out of Kyle's hometown of Chicago, Illinois.
That's right.
He's been on our show, and just local personalities, and if you just missed it, Jeff Folks, who's a longtime friend of mine for almost 40 years. Well, it has been 40 years now that I think about it. kind of giving my age away a little bit. But anyway, and then you can also scroll down the page on Facebook, and you can check our previous episodes out now. And without further ado, I'll turn this over to Casey.
All right, this comes from the devotional called Anxiety to Peace from the YouVersion app, and it's from Philippians 4:6-8. It says, it's a verse that we've all heard probably plenty of times. It says, do not be anxious about anything, but in prayer and in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. A verse that we've heard so many times that is so important in my life. And I'm just going to read what this says. It says, authenticity is an important value to me. So often I have found it difficult to muster up positive thoughts or statements when it simply do not line up with my feelings. For example, if I have flu-like symptoms, I'm not going to repeatedly say, I'm not sick, I'm not sick, I'm not sick. However, one day as I was listening to a teaching on Philippians 4:8, I realized just how often I do actually proclaim untruth in my mind instead of truth. The verse says, fix your thoughts on what is true. When we fix our thoughts on what might possibly happen or the worst that could transpire, we are meditating on untruths. When I worry that the pain in my head is a cancer tumor, I am dwelling on untruth. Could it be cancer or something else serious? Perhaps, but until that case, it is not true. I cannot tell you the number of ailments, financial crisis, failures, and serious consequences I felt like I have experienced over the years because I chose to fixate on what is untrue. And most of them never even came close to actually happening. They were just bouncing around in my mind as mere possibilities. It may seem obvious and simple, but I have found tremendous relief by reminding myself to only focus on what is, not that might be. My task is only to focus on which is known to be true. And then it goes on to talk about that just a little bit in the Philippians, that finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. So I think that's great to just say how you feel, be authentic with the Lord, because he understands more than anything. So absolutely. Hiding it from him, that's impossible. So being open with our Savior is probably the most important thing that we could possibly do.
Amen. Good stuff, Casey. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that was
sure
really good.
It was. So I will not get to see all the game this week with the Cowboys Chiefs because I have a dinner to go to Saturday or Sunday afternoon. So I will miss probably the second half. But I may actually have I do have Hulu on my phone, so I may be watching anyway.
Can I ask a question on that?
Nope.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Would you, if you could, honestly watch the entire game? Because I know
I can't say that yes or no.
Okay.
Because if I get
it depends on how it was going. Okay.
I can watch it as long as I don't start seeing a compiling of bad officiating. Then I'll just turn it off.
Then don't watch.
But if it's back and forth or they're not getting blown out, yeah. So I can't say.
Okay.
I have almost all year not watched. The only game I saw from start to finish probably was the Monday night game. Because I was here on Monday night and didn't have anywhere to go. Almost every Sunday I have to be somewhere at some point in time. I'm either late getting here after the 12 o'clock game or I have to go somewhere before the 3 o'clock game is over with. And so I might watch a quarter of it, and if I don't like what I see, I'll just turn it off. And if they win, I'll go back and watch it later. This Sunday I won't. I'll probably start watching it, yes, but I won't watch it all the way through because I have to leave about 4:45, so I won't be able to see it.
Hey, regardless of my pick, even though I'm worried about the Chiefs' fate this weekend, I still am willing to bet a stake on them. So
okay. So you're betting you're picking them to lose, but you're willing to go. So let me ask you this: so if we do the steak dinner thing, And since you actually picked the Cowboys anyway.
No, it's whoever's team wins.
Well, no, but he picked the Cowboys in
Oh,
our
I
pick.
know.
That's what I'm saying.
I know, but.
So are you giving me the 2.5 on this steak?
Oh,
thing?
wow.
Um.
You should see the look on his face, Casey.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll give you. No, I don't. Yeah, I'll give you the 2.5.
And where's this steak going to be? Because I'm not willing to, go Mickey Mantles or anything because I don't feel that confident.
No.
Red Prime.
Wherever we want. That Longhorn's fine.
Longhorn. Yeah.
I think I'd rather have saltgrass, but okay.
All right, fair enough.
Either
Saltgrass
or.
is good with me.
You could pick.
And wait. Do I get to go?
No. Well, you
Okay.
can buy your own. Depends.
Well, I bet you that. Well, never mind.
How's your fantasy, Casey? Your fantasy
I'm
team.
like 5-5 in just about every league, so I'm in the middle of things.
I am back in first place after the win last week.
Nice.
Yeah, I am with what 3 games to go or 4, something like that. 3 or 4.
Depending
Yeah,
on how
sorry,
the
I have a
league's
dog
played.
that's sick, so I keep bouncing back and forth between things. So anyway, sorry, we should probably wrap up the show.
No, we probably should. We're just this is one of the longest shows we've done in a while.
Longest maybe ever.
Yep.
Ooh.
All right.
Ooh.
Well, guys, thanks for being on. Real quick, let me just kind of get some closing out music so it doesn't look like we're closing out with just a bunch of dead air. But every Wednesday, make sure everybody knows that we will not be on air next Wednesday night.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Make sure that if you're able and it's safe, that you go spend time with family. I know that I get to go pick my mom up on.
Good.
Whoops.
Whoa.
Kyle, are you still there? Kyle? I might have lost him. Hold on a second.
You might add this.
You still there? I think we lost you. All right. Well, anyway, we'll close it out. I'm not going to get him back up. So this has been Fatihletic, the podcast. Since the only 2 left, we'll try to get this right.
I'm ready this
All
time.
right. So I am coaching with,
The Gunslinger.
and we are
Fatihletic, the podcast.
Have a good night. Thanks for joining us. Happy Thanksgiving. Remember that Jesus loves you, and so do we. Have a good night.
See y'all.